Hello everyone, and welcome to Thawai Life. If you think the hardest part of moving to the big city is finding a job, I used to think the same, until I lost mine. I am 33 years old, a father, a husband, and right now, a stay-at-home dad. Like millions of others, my wife and I left our peaceful rural village to find better opportunities in Saigon. Today, our reality is this 130 square foot room. With only one income from my wife, our daily budget is restricted to just $5 a day. That covers food, diapers, electricity, and water. $5 in a city that never stops moving. It sounds impossible, doesn't it? But this channel isn't a story about giving up. It's a story about survival, love, and finding the beauty in having less. Through Thawai Life, I want to show you the real Vietnam, raw, unfiltered, and deeply human. This is how we live, how we love, and how we keep going in our tiny 130 square foot world. I originally come from a rural part of Vietnam, and my formal education stopped at high school. Because of that, speaking fluent English is something I still deeply struggle with. To cross that language barrier, I use an AI voice to help tell my story. It allows me to share my raw, daily life and connect with international friends all over the world. That connection, bridging the gap between my small world and yours, brings me genuine joy. It is the true purpose behind why I created this channel. I used to think that by the time a man turns 35, his life would be firmly grounded. You know, the kind of stability society always talks about. A steady career, a growing savings account, a house with enough room so you don't have to fold your bed every single morning just to have a place to sit. But life doesn't always follow the script we write for it. Right now, I am 35 years old, and I find myself completely out of work. In a city that moves as fast as Saigon, waking up without a job to go to is a very strange, isolating feeling. You hear the motorbikes outside, people rushing to clock in, chasing their goals, while your entire world is paused inside a 1.5 square meter rented room. Folding this thin mattress is the first thing I do every day. It's a simple task, but lately it feels like a metaphor for my life. You make yourself smaller, you fold away your pride, you adapt to whatever space you have left. When the income stops but the bills don't, the pressure builds up in the back of your mind like a storm that refuses to break. You go to the market and notice the price of vegetables has gone up again. You calculate the electricity bill every time you turn on the fan. It is a quiet, heavy exhaustion that you carry in your bones. But then, a small sound breaks the silence. My 2-month-old baby wakes up, and suddenly, all that heavy economic math in my head is pushed aside by a completely different reality. He doesn't know what inflation is. He doesn't care that the job market is tough, or that his father is struggling to find the next paycheck. He only knows that his stomach is empty, and that I'm the one who makes it better. As I get up to prepare his milk, my hands are moving purely on instinct, but my mind is racing. Formula is expensive. Diapers are expensive. Raising a child in a low-income household is a constant balancing act on a very thin wire. There are nights when I look at him sleeping and I feel this overwhelming wave of guilt. I ask myself if I can give him the life he deserves. I worry that this tiny room isn't enough, that my empty pockets will somehow limit his future. It is terrifying to hold something so fragile when you feel so broken yourself. Yet, as I hold the bottle and watch him drink, looking up at me with those innocent, trusting eyes, the fear starts to lose its grip. The world outside might see an unemployed man falling behind, but in this 1.5 square meter room, I am everything. I am the provider of warmth, the protector against the dark, the center of his universe. Being unemployed means I have lost my income, but it also means I am here. I am here for every cry, every diaper change, every morning awakening, I have the time to hold him that many working fathers are forced to sacrifice. We might not have much money right now. The walls are close, the air is hot, and the future is uncertain. But as long as I have breath in my lungs, I will make sure this little boy knows nothing but love. We will survive this tough season, not because it is easy, but because looking at him, giving up, is simply impossible. Once his hunger is satisfied and he drifts back to sleep, the next part of my day begins. In a 1.5 square meter room, there is no such thing as cleaning up later. When your entire life, your kitchen, your bedroom, your living room is squeezed into one tiny box, clutter takes over in an instant. A few unwashed dishes or scattered clothes can make the walls feel like they are closing in on you. So, keeping this space tidy is not just a daily chore, it is how we maintain our sanity. Right now, since I don't have a job to go to, this room is my workplace. My primary responsibility is to support my wife, to lift the burden off her shoulders however I can. Society often measures a man's worth by the size of his paycheck, by how much money he brings home to his family. It took me a long time, and a lot of quiet moments like this, to unlearn that. Standing here at this small sink, washing these tiny baby bottles, there is a quiet, unspoken dignity in it. I scrub the milk residue, sterilize the nipples, and line them up carefully to dry. It is a repetitive, endless cycle. You wash them, they get used, and you wash them again. But every clean bottle is a silent promise. It is my way of preparing for his next meal, making sure everything is safe, clean, and ready for him. My wife and I, we are a team facing a very steep hill right now. She carries so much weight and worry for our little family. While I cannot provide financially at this moment, I can provide a clean home. I can make sure that when she rests, she doesn't have to look at a messy floor. I can make sure the baby's clothes are washed, the dust is swept away, and the air in this small room feels a little lighter for us to breathe. Sometimes, as the water runs over my hands, my mind wanders. I think about the men my age who are sitting in office meetings, closing deals, or running businesses. I used to feel a sharp sting of failure comparing myself to them. But the truth is, washing these bottles requires just as much devotion. Real life isn't always about grand achievements or climbing the corporate ladder. Sometimes, real life is just standing in a cramped corner, doing the invisible work to make sure your family is cared for. There is no shame in honest work, even if that work is just sweeping the floor and washing dishes in a tiny room. This is my reality today. It is not glamorous, but it is built on love, and I am putting all my heart into it. Hello, and welcome to our small family. Opening up our tiny world here in Vietnam and sharing these raw, everyday moments with all of you has been a very special journey for us. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being here, for watching, and for walking alongside our family. In a modern world, washing clothes takes about the push of a button. But in our 1.5 square meter room, there is no space for a washing machine, and there is certainly no budget for the electricity and water it consumes. So, every day, I sit by this small plastic basin, washing my 2-month-old baby's clothes by hand. There is a strange economic truth that you only truly understand when you are living on the edge of poverty. People often think that being poor just means you have less money to buy things, but the reality is much heavier. Being poor means you pay for everything with your time. If we had a higher income, this task would take 5 minutes of my day. Instead, it takes an hour. That is the invisible tax on the poor. When you can't afford to buy in bulk, you buy small, daily portions of food and supplies at a higher premium. When you can't afford appliances, you use your own hands and your own spine to do the heavy lifting. The economy out there is ruthless. Prices in Saigon have been quietly climbing month by month. A simple bowl of noodles, a bag of rice, the rent for this tiny room, the numbers creep up, silently stretching the distance between what we need and what we have. Meanwhile, the job market has grown cold. Factories scaling back, companies cutting costs. For a 3-5-year-old man without a specialized degree, finding a stable door that will open for you feels like walking against a very strong wind. There is a profound sense of vulnerability when you are raising a family at the bottom of the economic ladder. You realize that there is no safety net. One unexpected illness, one broken motorbike, one sudden expense can wipe out months of careful survival. That fear lives in the back of my throat every single day. But as I sit here, my hands submerged in this soapy water, scrubbing these tiny socks and miniature shirts, the panic slowly washes away. I scrub the fabric, trying to remove the stains, but in a way, I am also trying to scrub away the anxiety of my unemployment. Manual labor has a way of quieting the mind. It anchors you to the present moment. The world values money. It measures success by bank accounts and job titles. But today, my success is not defined by a paycheck. My success is right here, in this basin of clean water. Knowing that my son will wake up and have a clean, soft shirt to wear. Knowing that my wife can come home from her struggles and see these little clothes hanging neatly on the line. I may not be able to fix the economy, and I may not have a job tomorrow, but today, I can wash my son's clothes. I can make our small corner of the world clean and safe. And sometimes, when you have nothing else, doing one small act of love with your own 2 hands is enough to keep you moving forward. I started preparing today's meals. Before the city outside our window even fully woke up, my wife was already out the door, navigating the damp, crowded alleys of the local morning market to buy our ingredients. You might be surprised to hear this, but our entire day's food for the 2 of us only cost about $7. $7. In many parts of the world, that might just buy you a single cup of coffee. But here, in our reality, it is the lifeline for our entire day. When you live on a micro-budget, walking through the market is an exercise in discipline. We didn't choose meat today. The prices of pork and beef have climbed so high recently that they have become a luxury we simply have to walk past. Instead, we opted for seafood. Not the expensive kind you see in fancy restaurants, but the super cheap, humble seafood that local families like ours rely on to survive. Preparing this takes time. It takes patience to clean the small fish, to wash away the sand from the shells, to make something out of the absolute minimum. But as I stand here, in this tiny corner of our 1.5 square meter room, working with these $7 ingredients. I don't feel a sense of poverty. Instead, I see my wife's exhaustion from waking up at dawn just to find the best deals for us. I see the quiet sacrifices we are making so that our 2-month-old baby will have a better tomorrow. This food might be cheap, and the preparation might be hard, but a meal doesn't need to be expensive to be deeply nourishing. It just requires a little bit of creativity and hands that are willing to do the work with love. And tonight, this humble seafood will taste like a feast. The menu for today is beautifully simple. Pan-fried small fish and a large basket of fresh raw vegetables. In a traditional Vietnamese meal, balance is everything. The richness and heat of the fried fish need the crisp, clean crunch of the raw greens to make it complete. Washing these vegetables takes time and patience. When you buy from the local street market to save money, you have to be extra careful with the preparation. I stand here at this tiny sink, washing every single leaf, one by one, under the cold running water. My wife is nursing our 2-month-old baby, which means her health is the absolute foundation of our entire family. I cannot afford to be careless. Every leaf I wash is my way of making sure she stays strong and healthy. As I drop the fish into the hot oil, the sizzling sound fills the entire 1.5 square meter room. It is loud, it is a little chaotic, but to me, it is the sound of life. It is the sound of a family being provided for. We might not have a thick, expensive cut of steak to put on the table, but watching these small, humble fish turn golden and crispy in the pan, there is a very deep, quiet sense of pride in it. You take what little you have and you turn it into a feast. We eat sitting right here on the tiled floor. A bowl of fish sauce with a few slices of chili, a basket of fresh greens, and the hot fried fish. It is a meal that cost us almost nothing, but it fills our empty stomachs and warms our tiny home after a long, exhausting day. When you live on the edge of poverty, you learn that the value of food isn't measured by the price tag. It is measured by the effort it took to bring it to the floor and the people you share it with. When you eat with a heart full of gratitude, even the simplest food tastes extraordinary. As the day slowly comes to a close in our 1.5 square meter room, I want to take a quiet moment to simply say thank you. If you have stayed with us until this very last minute, you have given our small family the most precious gift anyone can give your time. Sharing our raw, unedited reality with you is our way of reaching out to the world beyond these four walls. Thank you for embracing our daily struggles and our humble meals with such kindness, respect, and understanding. We may be separated by vast oceans and different continents, but in these quiet, shared moments, it feels like we are just close friends sitting together in this tiny space. Wherever you are in the world right now, I hope you find your own peace, your own quiet joy, and the strength to overcome whatever challenges you are currently facing. Please take good care of yourselves and your loved ones. Until we meet again, Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.